Fairy Tail is much different than you remember. But before we start telling you why it's different and how it's different, let's do a quick summary of what Fairy Tail was.
チャンネル登録をお願いします。購読しないと私のデスノートに行き着くでしょう。私があなたの名前を知らないと思いますか？ジェームズ・ウィリアムズ。
In summary, I can tell you that Fairy Tail is very simple. It's a guild with Lucy and Natsu, right? That's the main scheme of this anime. You have, of course, Grey, Erza, and the other gang, because the Fairy Tail is a big group, but you learn some sort of information about everyone. Natsu is this amazing mage of fire, Natsu Dragnil, and he's looking for a salamander named Ignil. That we get to know this from the first episode. Lucy has abilities of keys, gates. We don't yet know how powerful they are. We cannot get a taste of what her power is in the second episode. Fairy Tail is about guilds, against powerful enemies, right? Simple as that. But for those who remember watching this, you will remember that this beginning, you thought that this is Fairy Tail, Natsu and Lucy. Then you would think that, oh, maybe it's not Natsu because in some aspects, Lucy gets much more screen time. Well, to be fair, everyone was wrong, because for some certain reason, the community has fallen back to, oh, it's the guild that is the main character. Which, for my opinion, is just that the community is so desperate to fixing this anime by itself that they are desperately trying to fix it by making up that the Fairy Tail guild in itself is the main character. For me, that's bad writing. But, of course, everyone has their own opinions. Why do I hate Fairy Tail so much, you might ask? I don't hate it. Because I've watched full-on every single Fairy Tail episode. I even tried reading the manga because of the 1,000-year quest that piqued my interest. And, okay, well, it was kind of good. But that would be where the good about Fairy Tail ends, because this anime is not great whatsoever. The amount of things that came out of this anime, like compare it to One Piece because of Shanks, and I still stand ground by this. This is Shanks' copy. I don't care about the different types of relationship, that this is more like a father figure and Shanks is more like a brother figure to Luffy. And also the big coincidence that they both don't have their left arm. Ooh. They have the same impact on both animes. Gildarts, of course, showed up more than Shanks, but then, of course, everything was celebrated, just like Shanks when he comes on the screen. Everyone is suddenly ejaculating massively on the screen. But you have to see this aspect of this and this anime for a different light. I will not compare them to, this is not a video about this. This is me telling you why Fairy Tail was more different than you think. Because this is the anime that taught me that fillers are completely trash. Brother, The failure of Fairy Tail of making fillers this bad. I've watched plenty anime before this, but I have not known what filler was. Now I knew, because of what this shit was. And I'm not trying to be harsh on this anime. I am, but in a different light. Because it had some great aspects. For example, the soundtrack I still use as my gym motivation, because it's such a fire soundtrack. They had music on this top-notch level. But again, I can't really recommend watching this when the memes of friendship being the resolution of every fight came from this anime. And you can't change my mind on this, because I have never heard of anime abusing friendship's power to this level as Fairy Tail. How can friendship's powers traverse through continent? I'm sorry for this. I got mad. Like I do when talking about Fairy Tail. There's so many doors in this whole series that have been locked and simply just tilted open. Like with the ending, there were two real enemies. Zeref was one and Acnologia was the second one. But they were like kind of mismatching with who is exactly the dawn of humanity, that you couldn't really understand it, to be honest. Because even if you killed Zeref, Acnologia could destroy the world. But if Acnologia died, Zeref could destroy. It's a mess, to be honest. There were really nice touches to like Zeref's emotional impact. You didn't get the same with Acnologia, but I still liked Zeref much more as an enemy. And if they focus their all energy to one enemy, like the big threat that could potentially destroy the whole humanity, rewrite universe to how he wanted it to, that would be much more interesting than what they did with the final fight. Yes, of course, Lucy was just that, right? She wasn't impactful in any way. She was just friends with every key that she had because she had the astrology power. She's the astrology girl. And let's be honest here. You remember Lucy only for one thing. But that would be that. There is nothing more to say.